If we knew more about our sleep, what would we do differently? Would we go to bed at a consistent time or take steps to reduce interruptions to our sleep? With Sleep Score, Apple Watch measures your bedtime consistency, interruptions, and sleep duration. Then, every morning it combines these factors into an easy-to-understand score from 1 to 100. So you'll know how to take the quality of your sleep from okay to very high. Know your sleep score with Apple Watch. iPhone 11 or later required.
Flowing ad budget on metrics that look great till the CFO sees them. That's bull spend. And marketers are calling it out in Dashboard Confessions.
I remember telling my boss, it'll be good for the brand, when leads were slow. Yeah, it wasn't.
Cut the bull spend. LinkedIn lets you target by company, job title, and more. Advertise on LinkedIn. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a $250 credit. Go to linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
Get business done with the new American Express Graphite Business Cash Unlimited card. With unlimited 2% cash back on all eligible purchases, unlimited 5% cash back on flights and prepaid hotels booked through American Express Travel Online, and a flexible spending capacity that can grow with your business, you'll have the confidence to keep building. Apply today and earn a welcome offer of $1,500 cash back after you spend $50,000 in qualifying purchases on your new card within the first 6 months of card membership. Terms apply. Learn more at go.amex/graphite.
It's really cool. Bonjour, hello, and welcome to the Rosbif Rugby Podcast, your one-stop shop for all things French rugby. The top 14 Pro de National, the Champions and Challenge Cups, the French national team, Les Bleus, and of course the brilliant towns, cities, bars, restaurants, fan stadia, everything that makes the French rugby experience the one we know and love. Rob, we're recording bright and early. It's hot. It's like when you can't take a dog for the walk. It's too early to record in the afternoons and evenings. But how was your bank holiday weekend?
Yeah, it was very nice, very warm, but went down to the Isle of Wight. It's a little bit cooler by the coast, and then I've got sunburn. So I was looking around all weekend, be like, Jesus, he's red, he's pink, and I was thinking really smugly, like, well, they're going to be in so much pain tomorrow in the office, and then kind of took my shirt off last night when I went to bed. I was like, ooh, that is problematic. But yeah,
join the hordes.
But yeah, also had the delights of a bus replacement with like no aircon going through the back ends of Portsmouth, which is, yeah, what delightful bank holiday activity. Rail replacement bus between Portsmouth and Havant.
Oh, delightful.
Wouldn't recommend.
Yeah, that's proper stuff.
You also had beach visits and train journeys?
Yes, yeah, we were off to the in-laws in Pembrokeshire, which was very enjoyable, very sunny. Managed to, I think, stave off the burn, but yeah, could, under detailed inspection later, I'm sure something snuck through. But yeah, very, very agreeable. Also, the train on the way back was planned diversion, but I think the tunnel was closed on the way back from Wales, so we went via Gloucester. So my first sighting of both Gloucester Cathedral and Kingsholm, which to some I imagine is one and the same. But yeah, it was slightly laid back, but very, very nice weekend, it must be said. So I suppose the key question then is, amidst your trips to the coast, amidst the sunburn, did you manage to fully immerse yourself in the feast of very, very sweaty European rugby over the weekend? It looked very hot in Bilbao.
Yeah, I kind of have and haven't in a weird way. I feel like I've watched loads of it with like a headphone in and kind of doing other stuff. Mainly Champions Cup, which was while we were batting on Saturday, which was kind of quite nice. Apart from my brief innings that I then had a quick interlude and missed part of the second half. But yeah, thankfully this time no more batting heroics.
Crashing back to earth after the heavy heights.
Yeah. I mean, I could just make up an excuse. Well, I kind of wanted to watch rugby anyway, so that's why I got out. If I really wanted to, if I hadn't had the distraction of the rugby,
ever the team man.
Yeah. But yeah, I did. And then kind of after the Saturday evening game, the Provence brief game, I kind of watched. One eye on that, one eye on our first team when we went back to the cricket club. But yeah, I managed to felt like that sums up quite a lot of my evening. Kind of one eye on something else, like Montpellier doing some cooking, and then kind of watching the Montpellier game. Yeah, how about you?
Yes, I've seen.
You were
yeah,
particularly
similar.
you were particularly pissed off by the kickoff time for the final.
Yeah,
which is mad. Yeah.
It just seems, I don't know, it's just like right in the middle of your day, isn't it? Which, yeah, but we managed to make it work. Caught both the Champions Challenge Cups and saw a bit of what the lads on FI UK were offering up after our interview with Kerwin Bosch. We should say we're hoping that we'll be dropping another exclusive bonus interview ahead of the Pro Day de semi, so keep an eye out for that. But yeah, we start with the Champions Cup final. I mean, a huge congratulations to Bordeaux, our friends at Bordeaux. We had an email, quite a polite email back from the media manager at that time. So yeah, where do you want to start?
Well, you mentioned the kickoff time and the heat. Like, why was this game not at 8 p.m? Or like, why was this not prime time like the Champions League final? But I don't know if there was something going on in.
One thing I would say is looking back, I know when was it last year? Because I
think it was a similar time.
Yeah, it's obviously just I think we're just so used, maybe particularly with a French rugby lens, that the showpiece games, as it were, are always late, aren't they? Like it's always the Saturday or Sunday night, and it just suddenly seems a little bit jarring.
Well, even with the Six Nations now, they've moved it to the prime time slots for a lot of the France games.
Yeah, it does seem weird. There must be. I'm
like
sure
when you've got to have 2 water breaks because you're playing in the middle of the afternoon.
Yeah, it did.
Or two and a bit. I feel like there was other kind of unscheduled water breaks as soon as there was an injury, or like there was one at like half an hour in where it was like, well, we've had 12 minutes since the last water break and we're all still cooked, so let's everyone pile everyone on and get some water on. I like coming off the pitch, like Louis Bielbiere at half time instantly had a like cold towel around his neck.
Yeah, it looked real hot. Also, shout out to there was like a sort of halo, wasn't there, over the pitch, of sunlight. Like there was this one kind of end that whoever was sat there was getting absolutely roasted all game.
Yeah. So
yeah, good work if you managed to sustain that. Yeah, I mean, as emphatic a Champions Cup final as I think you could wish to see, to be quite honest. Yeah, what are your initial thoughts as you wear? Is that UBB?
It's my UBB t-shirt. Yeah. Partly because it's one of the few t-shirts I've got. I couldn't wear a jumper this morning. I think in kind of slight contrast to the Montpellier game, the closer it got to kickoff Montpellier v Ulster, I was like, this is going to be, the more confident I got that Montpellier were going to absolutely hammer them. Like even in the build-up, they're like, oh, I think Ulster have got a chance. Like, no. Like a couple of minutes before kickoff, like, this is Ulster's chance. Like, no, it's not. They're not going to come close. Whereas the Bordeaux one, I think you and I both said Saturday morning, so I got a sneaking feeling that Leinster might win this, and kind of made a bit of a mockery of that hunch, I guess. Like we kind of put some kind of 3 low-key things out about low-key reasons why they were going to win. Like everyone knew about Luku and Jalabert, and obviously Luku's won man of match in the three big knockout games there. But I think it kind of showed that you underrate that Bordeaux pack at your peril, and actually, as much as it was brilliant Bordeaux, kind of doing lots and lots of Bordeaux-esque things, the reason why they won that game was the forwards. Like it was, and what they did at the line out and the physicality. Like the Leinster kind of couldn't really match it in quite a lot of instances, or they were definitely having nowhere near the same impact that Leinster normally have. Like they were getting beaten back as kind of Bordeaux were kind of advancing, and then when Leinster had a go, they were kind of getting repelled relatively easily at times. Like they very rarely got any proper go forward with their own forwards, and I think that kind of sums up this Bordeaux team, this season's Bordeaux team, is that it's almost like the backline attack kind of looks after itself almost, and actually it's the reason why no one's been able to get near them is because their forwards have been so good this season, in the Champions Cup in particular.
Yeah, completely agree. I don't think there's, to be honest, I'm not sure there's a huge amount more to say. They were so aggressive. Their work at the ruck, particularly in attack, was so fast, wasn't it? The speed of ball they were able to generate was incredible.
complete contrast to Leinster. Leinster just never got that quick ball, whereas Bordeaux, and also like Luca's passing. There's a few where he's just like passing at 15 plus meters. Like the amount of defenders you're taking out with that is, and it's just getting there so quickly away from the point that Leinster would have previously defended. Brilliant stuff.
Yeah, they were superb there, and then their aggression, which kind of comes, I guess, to start with at the ruck with slowing that ball down, but their aggression in defence as well was, I think, probably the best I've ever seen it from Bordeaux. For all their brilliance and how much improved their set piece has been this year. You still see them occasionally a little bit fallible. And that just didn't seem the case. Certainly until the game was basically dead, which it kind of was by half time, right? With those two late tries in the first half. But yeah, it was a fantastic performance, and I think some of the guys who maybe both in the backs and forwards. I mean, there are no obvious weaknesses, but in the past we've. Maybe Lamoth's throwing, he was absolutely perfect.
Arlo's throwing is still all over the place.
It's taken Lamoth 4 years or whatever it is to work it with that UBB line out, but it did go. It really went wrong after that. But yeah, he's brilliant. Moafana's been pretty inconsistent this season, I would say. I don't think that's unfair. He was amazing.
Don't get me wrong, Richard. I've been willing to push an anti-Moafana agenda through my pro Fabian Brobery agenda, but I have always kind of quite liked Moafana. And this was definitely one of his good performances. I thought he was brilliant in defence. Absolutely,
he was outstanding. Brilliant. He was absolutely outstanding. And then the other guys are just playing at such a level. You've had obviously someone like Swinton come in for Coleman. They took off really early in the second half. There was no kind of drop off in physicality. Like anywhere that you maybe would see as if not a weakness, but like an inconsistency, was just totally wrapped up. They were pretty much note perfect, weren't they? Again, until the game was done. It was a imperious performance.
Yeah, I think Wocky's had a lot of the raps, right? Like quite rightly throughout this tournament, because he's such an obvious presence at the line out. And he's such an obvious presence because he's a giant, but he's done so much in attack and defense. That try that he nearly scores early on, that would have been, even for him, that is freak athleticism. But I think it's kind of, I wanted to call out in our little mini preview, which I hope, sometimes I kind of paint it as my views, but I quite often, we're relatively aligned on, quite boring, Richard. We need to have more disagreements. But I think we were relatively aligned on those kind of views that Poirot and Sardi have come on loads. Poirot at the breakdown is so key, but the influence of Parlew and Coleman and Boschton, those, no one was talking about those guys. No one in the build-up was talking about. People talk about Poirot coming back, but Parlew, Coleman, Boschton were getting zero headlines, and they was just Parlew and Boschton were so good, so physical, so active. They did stuff. They were kind of, both of them were absolutely everywhere throughout. And Wocky kind of steals the highlights for some of the defensive line out work. But they've got such an athlete in Boschton that they can put two up at the same time. So they can get Wocky up as this pillar at the front to kind of go and get over the top of me. But then they can if Leinster were going to the tail, they could also get Boschton up to defend wherever the ball was going to go. It's just, they're so blessed with that athleticism. But I thought those guys were really physical, so much work rate, fantastic. Do you know who I was also thinking about when I was watching this performance from Cameron Wocky?
No.
Only one man, Richard. Sekou Makali.
The all-court game.
Well, I was just thinking, you see the impact that someone like Wocky can have. I don't see, and we've seen Makali have those games for Stade Francais, but I was just you've got an even more athletic version of Wocky. Just surely this guy should be
Yeah, Wocky was me. I would have given, I think, man of the match to either Boschton or Wocky, actually. I think, and you'll find no bigger proponent of Maxime Lucu than us. I think we love that bloke. But I feel like we're at the point, and he was absolutely sublime, as he has been all tournament. His box kicking is just the length he gets on some of his kicks.
Mad, isn't it?
Although Leinster, I thought from the restarts, just fed him, didn't they?
Yeah.
Not that that means it's on Leinster that he hums it 60 metres into touch. But I feel like with Luku, and perhaps rightly so, like he deserves all the flowers he gets. But we're at that point where if Bordeaux play well, they tend to go for their hero, which I think is perhaps not unfair. But I felt, given how important and how just utterly brilliant Bosch, Ton and Woki were in the first half when the game was won, I would have given it to one of them.
Yeah, I think they did. I think one of the guys, they said, I mean, I don't know who chooses it, but I think it's probably not the TV guys, but I think one of them said, like it could have easily been Woki had he not gone off injured. I don't know whether that's a bad injury or not, but I hope it's not.
Yeah, I mean, he was jumping on the zebra after the game, I think.
It's probably all right then.
Oh, actually, no. That might be fake news. Maybe that was Parley, but someone had some strapping on them and was jumping on the zebra. Yeah, I did see a thing saying it might just be a couple of weeks as opposed to like an ACL, which fingers crossed. Yeah, he was
just trying to find.
Sublime.
Can't actually find it. He's apparently not in the top 20 in the top 14, which surprises me. But goal kicking percentage. Marius Domon's good. He's in both. Goal kicking percentage, Maxime Luque in the Champions Cup, 86.2, which actually has him.
Oh wow!
Actually has him kind of 7th. But I thought he'd be higher than that. But there's a few guys that have actually no, they've all had 10 kicks. But yeah, 25 out of 29 in the Champions Cup, 86.2, ahead of Finn Russell, George Ford, and Harry Byrne. It's interesting. Behind Thomas Ramos, though, interestingly. He's not in the top 14 ones, although I think there might be some errors in this because Geronimo Prisantelli has a goal-kicking percentage of 169%.
Couple of double plays in there.
He's got 22 successful kicks from 13 attempts. And he's missed 2 as well. So
striking them well.
Yeah. Don't quite know what's going on with the top 14 stats. But I know that Luku was top last year, or it was him and Delpy last year. And he's obviously been very good. And that has been pretty transformative for them. Like I think you kind of think that an 80 to 90% kicker is like, people use it as like a throwaway comment, like an 80 to 90% kicker. But one thing I've noticed from looking at some of the stats recently is like, if you're above 85, you're probably one of the best in your competition, or at least above 86 seems to be like, that's genuine. Like Ramos is actually he's unbelievable, but I mean, he generally misses. It feels like he misses one a game, but he's taking like 8 shots. So like high 80s is exceptional. And Luku has been that certainly in the Champions Cup. Well, statistically in the Champions Cup this season, his goal kicking has been brilliant, and from range as well. Like, not that it hugely mattered, but takes a score out to 41 points where he just cruises one over from 50 something meters. I think that's been kind of transformative as well. And you're right. Sorry, I got very distracted while you were talking about his box kicking. It is absolutely mad, his box kicking. And I think you said in a tweet just afterwards as well, like to have Jalabert's tactical kicking game now on top of that, like he just seems to pick out. I don't think there was a 50-22 in this game, but there was a few that like were very close to it, or there was carried back, and it's ultimately you're still pinning them back. You're still pinning them back onto their own 5 meter line repeatedly, or inside their own 22 repeatedly. I think again, it's like that thing that very few people talk about how good those elements of the Bordeaux game have been. Like the defense was excellent. Luku's defense is amazing, but their kicking game is superb. And that's going back to the conversation with Cohen Bosch last week. Like, territory is what wins your game. And I think Leinster couldn't really get much territory, certainly for like a 20-minute period in the first half where it was all Bordeaux.
Yeah, it was just such a complete performance. And I saw a post this morning actually, and throughout the tournament, arguably one of the most complete kind of cup runs, both in terms of the dominance, but also the teams they've had to beat. I think they've beaten the top 14 URC and Prem champions on route.
Back. Yeah. And
first game, it feels like a while ago now, but first game had to go to Pretoria and beat the Bulls. It's been an incredible run. And as far as deserved celebrations, which we should probably get on to.
I was thinking that, like, was this there's an argument to say this is the best, most impressive Champions Cup win ever? can't think of any too many others that have been that
Yeah.
dominant throughout.
Yeah, it's been remarkable stuff.
There was also some brilliant play. There was like a 20-minute period where both sides were doing unbelievable. The amount of times I was like, that's amazing. That's amazing. Like Leinster were quite good at parts. They weren't dreadful throughout. They did some brilliant stuff of their own, like McCarthy, Van der Vliet.
Yeah, he was class.
Doris, the flat track bully, he was anonymous. There you go. Go on, clip that one up. Have that, Irish fans. Harry Byrne, rubbish.
Yeah.
I did some
Also, what's going on with I don't profess to know anything about Irish rugby, but I feel like every time I've seen Kieran Frawley play, he's been amazing.
Yeah,
and
he's going to Connacht.
Yeah,
and Joey Carberry is going back to Leinster, and it was on one of the UBB podcasters put that out on X, and I was like, well, Leinster do need a good fly half, to be fair. And someone replied, they'll still be looking then, which I quite enjoyed.
For fuck's sake.
Although I do think Joey Carberry's definitely better than the two they've got at the moment, I think.
Yeah, I'd say so. The
celebrations.
It's looked hectic. Big Ben after the game, he's kind of for a sub. He's pretty prominent in these. Obviously, that doesn't quite talk about his influence, of which in this game it was massive as well.
It's almost like everyone knew it was coming.
But he just his quote in the immediate post-match interview was, "It's going to be a tough couple of days," and so it looks like it. Well, it doesn't look that tough. It looks a lot of fun, but they have been, as far as I can tell, marauding first around Bilbao, then around Bordeaux. Big thing at the Stade Chaban-Delmas, which has looked quite good fun.
That was almost sold out from what it looked. I haven't seen a full stadium view, but that looks. There's so many people there.
Yeah, big open top parades. Who was it? Deporter, I think, saw drinking a can of Carlsberg, which made me laugh because that's what the beer is in the ground, isn't it? At Chaban-Delmas.
Did you see what they were drinking? The big bottles. They're big magnums like Coleman and Boston and those guys, and it's got Carlsberg on it. It's not champagne.
Oh, was it?
Quite a lot of the stuff in the ground, yeah, was just big, massive bottles of Carlsberg, like magnums of Carlsberg.
Just what you want. Probably the.
I think I would drink Carlsberg than champagne in this sort of heat.
In that heat, to be fair, yeah. The best celebrations bits I've seen are Ben Tamafuna in what I assume is his like kids, what do you call it, kind of buggy chariot thing that you tow behind a bike, going along the banks of the river
on the promenade. That promenade that goes all the way along
with the Wenger boys in full kit, which is, you've got to be Ben Tamafuna to be doing that in full kit. Otherwise, that is I'm not sure that's completely fair play.
Have you seen him setting off? His wife took a video, so he's like, I think because it's like an electric bike, right? And electric bikes, when you first get on them, are tricky to handle sometimes.
You take off, don't you?
Yeah. And he kind of does that and goes out the front drive and like whizzes around the corner, and that trolley just like crashes into a parked car, and tips out. He's got a speaker in it rather than a child, thankfully, but the speaker's like out on the road. He's gone like within the space of 3 meters, he's already crashed, which is like, oh wow,
yeah,
this is an interesting start.
It's so good. The other thing that I have found quite amusing is in a couple of the photos I've seen, it wouldn't be a French rugby celebration without some prominent cigarettes. And one of them is, I don't know what bar it is in the centre of town, but Pablo Berti is in a paddling pool outside a restaurant with a dart behind the ear. But perhaps, I think the best one is Lockie Swinton outside the Chaban-Delmas, just signing like a 7-year-old girl's like program with darted mouth. Which is just
that is amazing. What was I going to say? I think also just a quick shout out to Adam Coleman, because I think like Big Ben gets all the praise, gets all the highlights, but I think it's important to know that Adam Coleman also goes full kit for all of it. He did last year as well. And also in these sort of scenarios, you need someone to go with you. And Coleman is the man. Two lads that play for Tonga, two absolute giants that are just seemingly infallible. when it comes to boozing. I think they're still going, from what I can tell. Big Ben last posted 6 hours ago on his story, which wasn't something from 6 hours ago because it was definitely like early evening, but I think was some footage of him zooming along in his electric bike. Yeah, just it's so much fun, isn't it? Watching these guys, watching high level performance athletes. Just yeah, I think Pablo Uberti strikes me as a man that looks good smoking a cigarette.
Yeah.
It feels like put him in a leather jacket and he would look with a cigarette. He would look damn cool.
Slightly kind of retro look to him, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's like Hispanic. Well, he is Basque, so that kind of slightly European, lovable rogue.
Yeah, he's done well. Rob, any closing thoughts on the Champions Cup, on Bordeaux?
I don't think I do. No, I just think they were apparently there were a few Leinster fans complaining about the ref. Brilliant. Like as though that was going to make any difference. I think they were just utterly dominant.
Yeah,
I
can't say I saw too much of that to be honest.
I don't know what they're complaining about. Maybe the push from Penno, which is like he literally touches him and withdraws, so it's not push. Just brilliant stuff. I hope they're still going on the celebrations. I want to see how long they can go. But yeah, I genuinely think that could be the most dominant, well-deserved Champions Cup victory of the lot of the 30 years or whatever we've had now. Yeah,
I would tend to agree with that. Congratulations to Union Bordeaux-Bègles. The Challenge Cup.
Talking of dominant campaigns.
Yeah, I mean, Montpellier, they're the form team in France, aren't they? I think they've won 11 out of their last 12.
Yeah, I think James Harrington, after we recorded last week, James Harrington, very well, in his newsletter, he obviously wrote it before we recorded because our podcast wasn't out. But he put some stats in that. I think they've won 20. At that point, they'd won 27 of their last 31, which is a
amazing.
lot.
Yeah.
In all competitions, that is a lot
for a side that we saw draw at Montauban in the last minute of the game with a full strength side. Yeah, Friday night they were just. I thought they were absolutely outstanding. I mean, we know they're so powerful, but it's all well and good.
It was a little bit unfair, to be honest. Like the mismatch of physicality.
I mean, they're missing. I didn't realise this until kind of midway through the game. Ulster were missing
Stockdale,
McCloskey, Henderson, and who else? One other. I can't remember, but Herring was it as well?
Yeah. I don't know if I didn't realise Herring was still playing, but yeah, I mean they're
Which
missing.
Is not what you need against.
They're missing that. No, I kind of looked at the team and was like, that looks a relatively strong Ulster team. Like, fair enough. And then only when they were talking about it in kickoff running through the teams pre-game, I was like, oh yeah, they are missing their three best players, and one of which is one of the form players in Europe.
Yeah, not ideal.
Yeah. I don't know how much of a difference. I mean, obviously McCloskey is amazing, and Henderson would have helped massively with the physicality. Like, what is he, 2-time lion, if not 3-time lion?
Yeah,
but
final result, I don't think would have
total
been
domination.
Too different. They were I think Montpellier. It's not obviously you need to be big and heavy and aggressive, and they do that so well. But they looked. Which is not something you often say, particularly in the forwards. They looked in such good form in terms of like the crispness and accuracy of their line out, of their maul, like the pick and go game. It was just all so in sync.
Yeah.
And I think the bit that sums it up is Vunipola, who was just fantastic. Like, he's had such a resurgence this season. I mean, he was good last year, but he's taken it to another level. The little kind of tip pass to, it was Nucci, I think, wasn't it? Early in the second half, where they're kind of hammering away near the line and then just puts him through the hole. You're like, this team is so in sync. And for all of the, they're up the jumper. When it was on, the crispness, Miotti looked superb. Like the accuracy of his passing.
Yeah.
I thought both centres, Caddo at 12 was absolutely brilliant. He kind of flies a little bit under the radar.
I feel like he plays like some of his best games have come in there because he was unreal in the access match. Like I feel like his best games are when they're big games, which is quite a nice little knack to have for a very unheralded player.
Yeah,
uncapped.
I thought they
They looked.
I think it was the glass of wine at lunch for Arthur Van Som that did it. There was some stuff that Montpellier put out on the official Montpellier story that there was obviously like a pre-game lunch, like pre-game briefing, and the glasses that they had in their hands they were wine glasses, and a lot of them did look like they were wine. The odd one might have been water, but yeah. Arthur Van Som strikes me as the sort of bloke that's having a glass of wine pre-game.
Just eases him in nicely.
Yeah. Calms him down.
But yeah, I don't think I've got too much more to say. I mean, the whole back row, Vunipola was amazing, but Nucci and Becconi were absolutely incredible as well. It was just such a complete performance, and they will be very, very difficult to get past in the top 14 running.
I think, I mean, it was nice to hear someone else pick it up on commentary, but we've talked about it, like the way that Nucci and Vunipola kind of interact and like the foil for each other, like the way that one of them distracts for the other, like the opposition, and then the other one kind of capitalizes it. It was kind of nice to see that in a final, or on a wider audience as well. I think, I think Bordeaux and Toulouse would be worried about those guys, just because the forward pack is just the muscle in that scrum is slightly terrifying.
Yeah.
I do think with Nucci, like they'll come, like everyone that watches him regularly thinks he's absolutely amazing. I feel like I couldn't think of a comparative, but there will come a time, like he might have 10 caps for France by the time he's 27. And then when he hits 27, he'll suddenly be like this is his time, and he will suddenly be like the best player in the world, or like he'll just become accepted as like the best player in France when he's like 28, 29. I think like for whatever reason, he won't have this as much of a kind of impact early in his career as he should. Maybe a bit like Luku or Olivon maybe, but yeah, I think there'll come a time. Nucci's time will come, and it will come hard.
Yeah, he's sublime. I think we both thought he was excellent off the bench for France in the Six Nations, and it was a little bit puzzling as to why he wasn't retained in that last game against England. But yeah, he's and they obviously at Montpellier they rate him so highly as well. He's such a leader as well as what he does around the park, which is everything. He's so high quality. Montpellier, fantastic result. So quite an emotional moment. It was Marco Telaine in tears, I think, with his parents at the end of the game. Obviously, a guy who's played a lot, and I think is he going to Valence, or did I make that up? I'm sure he's moving.
You might be right, actually. Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, I mean, he was captain a couple of years ago, like a real Montpellier man. Yeah, very nice scenes, wholesome fare at the end there. It's probably very easy segue into this weekend. A massive, important round, penultimate round of the top 14 regular. Montpellier host, or do they host your boys Po?
Yeah,
I would.
Makes me nervous. That.
Yeah, it would make me nervous as a Po fan. That will obviously go a long way as well. You would think, although there's still plenty in the mix, but could go a very long way to deciding who gets that much coveted straight to the semi-final at Marseille. And Stade Francais are hosting Bayonne. So you would imagine they would pick up at least 4 points there.
Yeah, so Montpellier currently second on 74 points, Po on 73 and third, Stade Francais on 73 and fourth. Po ahead on, I assume, on number of wins, because it's definitely not bonus, definitely not points difference. Or head-to-head, maybe. But yeah, I just got to hope that... I haven't seen much of the Montpellier celebrations or partying, which is annoying. I'd like them to be really hungover for that game. I wonder how much they will rotate, because at one point they were starting to take off like Verhaag and Vunipola and guys like that in the final. I was like, no, I need Ulster to start scoring some points so that they tire them out for next week. Yeah, I mean, that's the game of the weekend, right? Saturday night, 8:15. So that does clash with the Champions League final. Brilliant.
Well, the Champions League final's at 5 o'clock, I think.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, because I think that's why they've moved all of the... Because all the other... Or the four other Saturday fixtures...
Are all 1:30 or 2:30 French time, yeah.
It could be the least watched top 14 game of the year.
One of the most decisive or impactful. There's two on Sunday as well. Toulon v Bordeaux Sunday afternoon. Clermont Racing Sunday evening. Sunday afternoon ruggers. Love it.
Which is also, I mean, both of those are huge. Clermont Racing occupy 6th and 7th respectively. Clermont win that, you would assume. Well, Bordeaux then might be the ones to drop out, but Clermont winning that could make it quite tricky for Racing. La Rochelle are still just hanging in there, aren't they? And they go to Montauban. So
yeah.
Oh, there's still going to be so much on that last round.
Bordeaux host Clermont in the last round.
Ooh.
I wonder if Bordeaux, I mean, their squad is so good and Toulon have been so average. They send a rotated side to Toulon, which they should, and then they go full noise for that Clermont game, and they should still, even if they lose, because they're a point ahead of Clermont currently. If they lose at the weekend and Clermont win, they would still have enough for a win at home. Yeah, put all your eggs in that basket. They might still even pick up some points away at Toulon. Toulon have been that bad in the top 14 at least. La Rochelle coming up on the rails.
Yeah.
La Rochelle could actually, this weekend, overtake Bordeaux. If Bordeaux don't pick up any match points and La Rochelle do indeed get 5 points away at Montauban, they would also be on 68 points. That would be mad. So going into the final weekend, Bordeaux would actually be outside the top 6.
Exciting. Right. We'll let's sit there, look forward to it, and we'll come back and discuss a bit of Pro Day 2.
Could AI help you do more of what you love? Workday is the AI platform for HR and finance that actually knows your business. We help you handle the have to do's so you can focus on the can't wait to do's. It's a new Workday.
Rob, as we mentioned, we will have another kind of Pro Day special after our interview with Kerwin Bosch later in the week. But the barrage games are done. 2 home wins. Oyonnax fairly comfortable over Valence Roman, and Provence also fairly comfortable over Brive, despite a bit of huffing and puffing, particularly in the first half. What are your takes from the barrage round?
I was surprised by the kind of result in the Valence game, the Valence Oyonnax game, but I think Valence genuinely did just run out of puff towards the end. They just couldn't live with the physicality that Oyonnax bring. The Provence Brive game, I think we were saying when we saw the teams, it looked a little bit disjointed, that Brive side. And the closer I got to kick off on that, I was like, Jesus, that Provence team is really, really good. And like prepping some of the kind of need to knows or whatever we want to call them, the team overviews ahead of the barrage, just running through some of the stats and some of the squads, you realise just how good Provence are and how good some of their players have been this season. The 2 guys that Tim on commentary was saying that, you know, he would have given man of the match to either Tuisui or Betuniata, and those guys in the stats are like for what they do are absolutely fantastic. Like Betuniata is top for offloads and I think like second for defenders beaten or something like that, or line breaks maybe. Tuisui is top for turnovers ahead of Courtney Laws, although I think he's played more than Courtney Laws. I think per minute Laws might have him, but per game I think Tuisui is still ahead of him. And he's also right up there for like meters made. Yalagonya is right up there for like tackles and meters made, carries and stuff like that. Like their players that are in form are the best in the league in what they do, or one of the best in the league in what they do. And I think that's pretty good position. And they all seem to be coming back, and they all seem to be fit, and they all seem to be in form. And I think it really told in this game. I think the one thing that we kind of leveled at Brive was perhaps a lack of invention, maybe. Like if you stop them at source, it's looked generally at times they've not had that much extra. And Provence had a very, very flair X Factor backline, and it showed. Like they played some wonderful. The tries in this game were absolutely wonderful. Muntz looks, you get in an international fly half. This is when you want him to find form. The way that him and Caville are playing is unbelievable. Like they play with such pace. They're playing so flat and just bringing players into the game. Yeah, I'm really enjoying Provence, and quite up for seeing them in the top 14.
Yeah, it feels they do kind of look like they're ready. Yeah, but on just a word on Brive, it's interesting, isn't it? I mean, I think the point around maybe not having as much as you'd want outside of the ballast is, I mean, the hiring of Fortizan from Valence is like, I think, so testament to that, right? Like the way what he's done with their attack, and I would be. It doesn't sound like it's particularly easy being a Brive fan, but I would be very, very excited by that signing for next year. And it just sort of feels like, and some of it's through injury, and we reckon maybe the GIF quota as well, which, I mean, that's a management thing, right? But you just look at, like, there was no like Payson. I think Cooney's injured. Obviously, Marcel
Payson's a big
Van der
miss.
Merwe has been out for the season. I don't know because I think Payson played. He played in the
Definitely
last
Jeff as well because it's France
game against Nevers in the regular season. So I don't know if he picked up an injury in that, but yeah, whether it's through injury, whether it's through form, like our man Kerwin Bosch we spoke to last week, like you would have at the start of the season in a barrage game, you'd have expected all of those guys to be there, and yeah, it just hasn't quite come to pass. But yeah, Provence superb. To your point on Valence, I think you're right. Like they're always going to be so difficult to go away to Oyonnax with the squad size they've got. But what a season for them it's been. I really hope they can back it up to an extent, and the departure of Fortizan isn't too detrimental, because they've been like an absolute credit and a joy to watch, I think, this year. Looking ahead then,
they did actually have one spare place for a non-GIF on the match day squad on Saturday, I think. Brive, they had 17 GIFs and 6 non-GIFs, and they were above going into it. So they could have played. I don't know why they didn't play Bosch. I just can't help but think they would have been better placed with Olding at 12. Olding is a very key player for them, right? Like he's a captain and he's been part of the club for 10 years now. But you said, like, how can you not want a guy who can slot them from 60 and can come up with like unbelievable moments and can bang it into the corners really easily? Like, how could you not want that in your team in that sort of knockout game? But yeah, we're here in London. Who knows what's happening?
Yeah. Looking ahead, Van host Oyonnax and Colomiers Provence. What days are they on? I think
Thursday and Friday.
The Van game's Thursday, right?
Yeah.
I think, as good as
Calling it now, Richard. It's an Oyonnax v Colomiers final.
Yeah. Okay.
That's long odds, I reckon.
That is probably long odds.
I think I do think like everyone's like Van. Like I do think if there is one team that could, I think the two teams that could actually stop Van are Provence and Oyonnax. I think just the way that Oyonnax scrummaging, it's just a penalty machine. It just, you see this with sides. Yeah, we've seen it with South Africa. Like if a team is that dominant at scrum time, it can completely change a game. Whether they can have that sort of dominance against Van remains to be seen. But I think they can get the upper hand. I just don't know whether it's enough of an upper hand. But they've got the main man, Zach Holmes, as well. His win percentage is genuinely statistically significant. Like their percentage with and without Zach Holmes, which is, obviously we're biased because he was a lovely bloke when he came on our podcast. But yeah, interesting. And also his goal kicking, he was right up there, but on the percentages. I think he was first or second last year, and he's first or second this year for raw percentage. So Mere obviously steals the highlights with all the points, but yeah, helps having a guy that's that good in knockout rugby, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Oyonnax, okay, fair enough. And Colomiers, I'm really looking forward to seeing Colomiers Provence. I think I've certainly been guilty of sleeping on Colomiers a bit, purely because of their record against some of the bigger sides. But
I think that's quite a hard one to get beyond, isn't it? Like the fact that they have struggled even at home against those sides.
They have, however, beaten Provence away from home, so they do have some good memories there. Just really exciting. I mean, two outstanding backlines in good packs and a bit better than good for Provence. But I think the two sort of probably the most fluid at their best and most exciting in the league. It should be should be a lot of fun in the Toulouse sunshine.
Yeah, Friday night, that'll be a cracker. I also hadn't realised that Colomiers, for all their attack, like what we think of them as this free running side, they actually haven't scored quite as many tries this year as they did last year. But they are the best defence by a decent amount in terms of points conceded. Like they are quite. I mean, I imagine Van have like conceded points because they're 50 up and they've kind of can't really be asked anymore. So maybe that's part of it. But to have the best defence in the league is when you're renowned as a free flowing attacking side is kind of like the Bordeaux thing. Like, you know, people forget about the fact that they have that in their locker as well. I think I feel like we've not seen Colomiers on FI UK for a while. So I'm really looking forward to kind of seeing them in knockout rugby. I think, yeah, quite happy with any of those sides going up.
Definitely. Right, that will all be live on FI UK on YouTube, and keep an eye out later in the week in your feed, wherever you get your podcast, for hopefully another special preview with a guest.
Hopefully a bit more intel on Colomiers. Yeah. There you go. That's a teaser for you, isn't it?
Very good.
Getting good at this presenting lark. I don't think we are, but yeah.
Right, let's Petit-Fours in a sec.
Expedia and Visit Scotland invite you to come experience the beauty that awaits in Scotland. The sweep of wild coastlines, quiet lochs, and untamed landscapes. Fresh cuisine that feels rooted in the land. Come experience the kind of stillness that stays with you long after you leave. Plan your Scottish escape today at expedia.com/Visit Scotland.
Rob, amidst all the sunshine, the Pro de Barrage, the Challenge Cup finals, did anything else capture your attention in the Petit-Fours stakes?
I'm not going to lie, the majority of it is stuff from the Bordeaux celebrations, which we've covered. I have not seen a great deal. Oh, what's going on here? Oh, sorry, I've just gone on Fabien Brébery's story. He was at the basketball in Pau, by the looks of things. But
good. Other
Pau men out and about watching other sport. Teo Atisogbe was at Roland Garros.
Nice. I saw that, looking very suave.
Yeah. That's basically all I've got. I haven't seen anything else of any other players on their time off other than Teo Atisogbe at Roland Garros.
Well, the one thing that I don't know, you may have seen, or that the build up to, was the Crunch Creator. Did you see that?
Yeah. Quite a big deal in the end.
Sold out the Matmut Atlantique. I hadn't realised it was scheduled for the same day as the Champions Cup, which I don't know if that's, well, it would seem to have been a stroke of genius because it was absolutely rammed. But yeah, a series of rugby creators from France and England interspersed with a few old players, including Mathieu Bastereau,
Dylan Armitage,
Sofiane Gatoun for France. Dylan Armitage.
And Dusatoir played, didn't he?
Oh, I didn't see that. Oh, maybe he did.
Dusatoir was there. I think he played.
And the England team, I think, was captained by, remarkably in terms of longevity, the Archie Curzon character. How long that's been going? Who played alongside Nick Abendanen, for anyone who many years ago watched those original Don't Drop the Egg skits. So that was quite.
Oh, was he from Don't Drop the Egg, Archie Curzon?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realise that.
All those years ago, the Clapham Falcons.
Wow.
But yeah, looked like it was quite a lot of fun, to be fair. So that was that. The other couple of things I saw, Cecile.
That was also on Canal Plus.
Was it? I know it was streamed on like Twitch and it had a big stream.
I think the main guy is like 2 million YouTube subscribers. Diego or something. Yeah. But I think it was also on Canal Plus.
Amazing. Yeah, very cool. Cecile Hernandez, who was a Paralympic snowball cross champion, I think in the recent Olympics, was with USAP doing a bit of a talk and being presented with some Perpignan stash. So yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
That's cool.
And then a guy I know you've enjoyed in the past, who's just been at Carcassonne, previously Agen, Newcastle, Tonga, Sonatani Takalua. Great calves. This is the same
best
guy?
calves in world rugby, yeah.
Well, the calves live on. He is signed for Stade Nantais. And I don't know if Mauro Bergamasco is still involved there, but he was certainly head coach there for a little while. I don't know if you ever saw the thing about Mauro. Was it Mauro or Mirko Bergamasco? I think it was Mauro. He also, when he was coaching Stade Nantais, took up Gaelic football. There's a local Gaelic football team in Nantes. I'm sure we've mentioned that on the pod, but that's my favourite Nantes rugby yarn. I think that's not. The other thing I saw the other day, which was reported in the Times last year, for the first time ever, the French drunk more beer than wine. Don't know if you saw that in your Times feed.
See that. No, I didn't. Stade Nantais finished fifth. Where did they finished fifth in their pool in National 2. So they must have been knocked out in the barrage. They lost 34-31 to Rugby Club Savoie.
Oh, yeah. Savoie from Switzerland? No,
that's Servette. Savoie is near. Is very near Switzerland. Yeah, Rugby Club Savoie Rumilly, but that Savoie is like pretty sure the logo is very similar to, or the flag of Savoie is very similar to the Swiss flag. It's like red with a white cross. But Savoie cheese is like, yeah, it's like Comte sort of thing.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, sort of near Grenoble.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So the final of National 2 is this weekend. Sorry, to get into National, but no, Orléans and CS Vennes are both in National now. They played the second part of their semi-finals this weekend. CS Vienne hammering Stade Longuenay 51-36, and then Orléans beating AS Macon 40-26. They are both now in National, but they play on 31st. That's on Sunday. That probably clashes with the Pro D2 Access match as well. So we will find out at the same time who will be in National next year, because, well, both those teams, but who wins National 2. And then the Access match is on Sunday, right?
Yes.
Nissa hosting Mont-de-Marsan.
Should be a lot of fun. Okay, Rob, we'll park it there. People, you can follow us at Rosbiff Rugby on anywhere you might do that on social media. Stay tuned for later in the week for a bonus pod. And otherwise, yeah, we'll speak to you then. Rob,
try not to melt.
Try not to melt. Yeah, stay safe out there.
Carry water.
Make sure your beers are cold. Maybe a chilled red. A little Beaujolais, something like that.
Yeah.
To keep the heat away. Okay, that's been Rob. I've been Richard. We've been the Rosbiff Rugby Podcast. Au revoir.
Au revoir.